There are many ways to travel, and this is mine. My name's Gary Dean. I'm the Blue Hat Bucket List Traveler. I did 34 cruises in 43 months, drove all 48 states and 10 provinces in that same 43 months. Did a lot of travel. Hope you're enjoying my videos. So this is how I did it. Luckily, I had budget, so I got to do it, in relative comfort. Got to go by cruise ship, which is the lazy way to travel, really. You just show up, get on the ship, unpack, and then you're good for 2 weeks. You don't have to dash to airports, next city, unpack, pack, all that stuff. It's very relaxing. You have to have the budget and the time is kind of the deal with that, and luckily I had both. So I spent 43 months, so over 3.5 years, just over, I guess 36 and 6 is 42. So just over 3.5 years getting it all done. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. I didn't do airport shuttles. I did Ubers. I stayed in nice hotels. I didn't do dormitories. I traveled good, and when I drove across, when I did all 48 states and the 10 provinces, I tried to stay in the Hampton Inns, which is a version of the Hilton. And that was kind of a little above probably mid-tier price-wise, but it did have free breakfast. So it was just an easy way, and the rooms had fridges and microwaves. So it was comfortable. It was a good place to stay and even pay whatever it cost. It wasn't Motel 6. It was higher up and cost more. I also had timeshares during some of those first trips. I've since got rid of them, but when I was using them, the timeshares worked out to be cheaper than staying in the $200 a night hotels by quite a bit. I think I paid $1,200 a year, and I got roughly 14 nights studio, which would be a hotel room type size. And if it was a one bedroom, I still got 7 to 10 days. So it was still a little bit cheaper than the hotel, but definitely a bigger space because it's not a hotel room, it's a one bedroom, right? I don't like roughing it, I guess you could say. I'm not and the other thing, I never rode the metros. Don't ask me, about taking the tube in London. I've tried that kind of thing. I get lost easily. I get frustrated, and I'm on holiday. I just, I don't find it to be fun how do I pay? Where do I pay? Why doesn't it work? I tried the London tube because I was staying out by the cruise port, which was Southampton. From London's a bit of a journey by trains just to get out of London. Oh, you just go down there, and I got down there, and then am I going left or am I going right? I have no idea. So you just kind of guess it, you hope. Yeah, so I've did the metro once in Hong Kong. Twice I've done it in all my travels and all my years, and I didn't like it either time. So I take Uber, and if there's no Uber, I take the local taxis and I just pay, what it costs. It costs what it costs, And I can tie this into a story. The reason when I didn't have money, when I didn't have budget, I didn't travel. And it's because when I first wanted to start seeing things, I didn't even have a good enough car to go places, so I borrowed my mother's, right? I would be like, hey, my mom had a new Toyota Corolla. I'd be like, I'd really like to drive to Los Angeles. I'll be gone a week. Can I borrow your car? You can have mine. My car's good in the city. I wouldn't trust it to go for, a week and 5,000 miles. So she was like, sure. This is when I was young, in my 30s, early 30s. And so I take her car. All I can afford is gas and like Denny's. I didn't have any budget, and I couldn't figure out a hotel. I knew I wanted to be downtown Los Angeles. So I get down there. I was with the girl I later married. It was our first kind of trip together, and we were both, just going to night school and working, and didn't have a lot of money, either one of us. She's helping to pay for some gas, and, we're figuring it all out. And we brought a cooler so that we could have ice and some drinks and, do what we could on the budget. And we get down there, and we're in this, turns out to be a Holiday Inn I had booked. It's right downtown Los Angeles. The reason I got a good price was because it wasn't a good area, but I didn't know that. Yeah, so anyways, they definitely had to they guarded your car, and they did all that kind of stuff. And you don't be going out at night in this area, just go by taxis and whatnot. So anyways, I unpacked the stuff, and then I got to move the car, and I come back, and the concierge guy's moving my stuff, and I'm like, no. I got no money to be tipping. It's just such on a budget, and I just felt so terrible. My sisters both work in restaurants, so I knew they were, they count on the tips, right? And I didn't have any, so and I don't feel bad not tipping if I'm not using the service. And so the guy was, no, it's okay, don't worry about it. Da, da, da. He ended up getting some money out of me, and then he was a good guy. He ended up getting me Dodger tickets, so it all worked out in the end. He got us, me and my girlfriend, to Dodger Stadium and back, because he knew a guy that was taking a van full of people up there. So it all worked out in the end, but it was humiliating, and I just didn't like it. So I was like, if I don't have the budget, then I don't go anywhere, right? They used to call it, I used to work with guys, we used to say, we're going on a staycation, which meant we were just hanging out in our city, which we did nothing, right? it was mandatory. We had to take our holidays, and we did, but we didn't do anything because we didn't have any money. We were going to night school, and we were working, entry-level jobs, trying to get our foot in the door to some bigger opportunities. So that's kind of why I didn't do a lot of travel. And then when I started my business and I started to make some money, I became self-employed and started to make some money, and I started to travel. I was working in Asia, and I started to travel Asia. I only did it because I could afford it. I didn't have to worry what's it going to cost for a taxi from the airport in Singapore to the hotel downtown Singapore, things like that. I didn't concern me. I knew I had enough money. Just put it on the card and pay the card at the end of the month. In all my travel stuff, I guess what I'm saying is I have no idea how to do it on a budget. Is there other ways to do it cheaper? I'm sure there is. I don't know, personally don't know how though, because I didn't do it. I know people have stayed in tents. I know people stayed in dormitories. I see people when I'm in the Uber going from the hotel to the cruise ship, I see people walking, carrying their bags. So there's definitely all ways to do things. I'm lucky that I can do it the way I do it. But also, I wouldn't be doing it if I had to do it the other way, because I find it too hard. It's supposed to be on vacation and you're worried about nickels and dimes. I just find that to be a crazy way to be doing anything. I don't do it, and I haven't had to, luckily. I'm in style, and I paid the bill, and I saw a lot, and I loved it. And I think I haven't done the math, but I wonder, say you do a 7-day cruise through the Caribbean, and you do five islands. I always wonder, what would it cost to go by plane and stay a night in a hotel, wake up, go to the next airport, take the next plane? What would that add up to and then compare that to what the cruise cost? I think the cruise is got to be more affordable. In the end, I think it's definitely less action. It is like all inclusive though. You are paying because they expect you to be eating their food and being on that ship, and so you're kind of paying that all inclusive price. But even still, I would have to think that if you want to see all those, 5 islands on that 7 days, I know people have zero interest going on a cruise ship just because of the hustle. They want to go and they want to just spend a week in Aruba. They don't want to spend an afternoon in Aruba. They find the having to go to be too much. And for me, if I wasn't going, it would be too much. I want to go. I saw it. I'm done. And when the cruise ship, if it loops back through there again, I don't even get off. It's like I already saw the place. Unless I can see the beach, and I know I could walk over there, then I might go just to hang out at the beach or something. But otherwise, I very rarely get off the ship. So yeah, I kept it simple. Uber to the airport, I get on the plane. I book nonstop if it's available. Doesn't matter what it costs. I fly economy though. I don't fly first class, but I book nonstop. I don't save money on 2-3 stop stuff. When I get there, I don't take shuttles or transit. I take a Uber or a taxi to the hotel, and I hang out at the hotel. I go see the city on a tour. I don't self-tour. I don't want to get lost and go around and not even know what I'm looking at. I'd rather be on a guided tour. Do that, pay for the Uber to the ship, get on the ship, and then I use the NCL excursions for my tours while I'm on the ship. I just pay because I want to see it and I want to know what it is that I saw. If you want to know how to do it, cruise for free and be a gambler, or retire on a cruise ship and hustle it this way or that way, I have no idea, right? I don't know how to do it cheaper. And to do it more expensive, that's easy. Just pick a, Virgin or, different cruise lines. You can definitely triple your budget, spend a lot more than I did. Hope you're doing good. Blue Hat Bucket List Traveler.